Hello, and welcome back to N Raghav TV for yet another video. It is Classico time. Barcelona face Real Madrid in La Liga Santander this weekend. Huge game for the Barcelona team coming up, brimming with confidence over the past few weeks and last month. I can say for sure defeating the likes of Napoli, Atletico Madrid, scoring goals for fun, and we should be called the Forcelona and not Barcelona because we've been scoring 4 goals in almost most of the games. So it's exciting time to play a tough, solid Real Madrid team, and it's not going to be a normal preview in this video. It's going to be a tactical preview, and in the next video we'll be looking at more of a general preview. So let's get started with the tactical preview. I've set up both the teams in the 4-3-3 which they usually play, and tomorrow's game it's going to be important for Xavi to get it tactically right because Asensio and Vinicius Junior are going to be a threat, especially Vinicius Junior is going to be a threat down this right hand side here. He'll cause Dani Alves and Adama Traore a lot of troubles with his pace. So it's going to be interesting how we tackle Vinicius Junior because there's no Serginho Dest. So Dani Alves is going to be our starting right back. So it's going to be interesting to see how we deal with the threat of Vinicius Junior, and that's the reason I think Xavi might revert back to his false winger strategy. So what this does, let me explain to you this false winger strategy that Xavi uses. Because in general, in games, what do you see? Okay, let's just bring in Ferran for an example. Usually, what Xavi has been doing in his previous games, the two wingers go wide. Pedri, De Jong make the run here in behind Aubameyang. Busquets drops deep. PK and Araujo push. Jordi Alba and Dani Alves don't go wide, they push in, and sometimes Dani Alves forms a double pivot. PK pushes out wide, Araujo this side, and Jordi Alba pushes in this space between Ferran and De Jong. So this is how we usually play without, if you remember the game, other games, leave the Atletico Madrid game, all the other games, this is how we kind of set up. Dani Alves might come in here in this space or form a double pivot here with Sergio Busquets and Pedri playing a little more towards the right hand side. But what we might have to do in this game is introduce a false winger. Let me explain why we need to introduce that false winger. So we go back to our 4-3-3, Adama on the right, Aubameyang and Ferran on the left, and Xavi coming in. What does this do? This allows Busquets to move here, Pedri to move into this space, De Jong comes in and Xavi comes into this space. So potentially, because Real Madrid's front three is really fluid, so usually if sometimes Asensio comes on here, Vini comes on to the right hand side, and then sometimes Benzema is on the left, Asensio is in the center. So their front three is really mobile. So what does playing four midfielders do when these three come up in this pocket of space? You have a numerical advantage with Busquets trying, if he tries to block off Benzema, then maybe cut out passing options, passing lanes, and you have an extra man here, so you can mark Vinicius Junior. You have a 3v2 advantage here in this space. So if the only way they can do is if Mendy pushes 2 ahead, is then they can match this 3v3 advantage. But in that case, even if we win the ball here, the entire left hand flank opens up for Adama Traore to exploit. So somehow tactically this helps us to exploit. The same thing happens on this left hand side. So Xavi comes into this space, and Asensio, Benzema here, and even if Modric makes a run here, and you have Carvajal, it's again Carvajal versus Alba, Xavi versus Asensio, Modric and we have Benzema versus Busquets, Modric versus De Jong. So you have exactly the 4v4 advantage, and that's the only disadvantage I see with playing this false winger, is you can't exploit this gap being left out on this gap that is being left out on this left hand side, this space being left out. There's no one to really exploit it from here, because Gavi is going to defend deep, and only if Aubameyang makes this run and maybe Pedri comes into this space is looks like the only opportunity where we can exploit the space. So that's the thing, and that's the reason I think Xavi is most likely to go with his 4-3-3 with a false winger in this game, like it happened against Atletico Madrid, and we got the result there against Atletico. We won 4-2 in that game, and of course we got that red card in the game, but that's something very different. And most ideally this is what Xavi is going to be doing in this game, but wouldn't be surprised if he sticks to his original game plan to play Ferran out wide, and maybe just increase the defensive duties of everyone and play a little bit deeper. But that's not how I see Xavi playing. Xavi will always want to be in the front foot. He'll have his wingers wide, he'll have the fullbacks coming in, he'll have our midfielders making those runs that they usually make. So this is how I see this game tactically being set up for FC Barcelona and Real Madrid. Of course, being Real Madrid, the way they play, they'll be more than happy to be giving the ball to us and letting us have the ball till, and they look to play more on the counter attacking side and exploit the pace of Vinicius, Asensio, and the beautiful games that Modric, Cruz have been playing in the past few weeks. So very, very excited for this El Clasico. That's it for this tactical preview. Coming up with a match preview in the next video before tomorrow's game. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.